So what's the deal with e-bikes? Do you guys like them? Well, I've been riding bikes for a long time, and I've never even really considered getting an e-bike until recently. What changed my mind about it as far as considering it was honestly going to Bellingham. I went on a Bellingham trip and I was riding a lot of loamers up there, so skidders. And the way to access those skidders, as well as like their main trail systems, the way to access the downhill trails is to climb service roads. And so you see a lot of people on e-bikes up there because an e-bike can blast up a service road super fast. There's no turns, there's no twisty single track going on. You literally are just blasting straight shot up to the top, and you end up being in a situation where you can like get a lot of laps in, because the uphill is such a straight shot uphill. It's just so advantageous to have an e-bike. You can get really like 3 to 4 times as much riding in with an e-bike. So then I started thinking about it a little bit more, because I ride some trails. I ride a lot of trails up here that are accessible by service roads, mostly. And so I find myself climbing roads or climbing service roads a lot, making me wonder if getting an e-bike would make actually a lot of sense. But I have some other specifications that I would need for an e-bike. So here's my thought process. I would need, if I was going to get an e-bike, I would need it to be a certain number of things. I don't need an 800 watt hour, 90 Newton meter beast of a tank, because I'm not going to be climbing 6,000 feet or going on 5-hour rides. What I would be doing is getting more laps than I would normally get in 2 to 3 hours of riding. So I would typically, I think, probably get somewhere between 3, maybe 4,000 vert if I was on an e-bike, which would be about double to like 2.5 times the amount of vert that I'm typically getting on an analog bike in that amount of time. So it would really double, it would probably double my amount of riding if I got the type of e-bike that I'm thinking of, which would be something that puts out about 60 Newton meters and has somewhere between like 500 to 600 watt a watt battery on it. And so if you go by that, I'm basically looking at an SL e-bike. So, you know, like the Levo SL, the Propane Thrush SL, there's a whole bunch of SL e-bikes. But then as I start researching them, I realized, God, there's a lot that goes into researching e-bikes, because you're paying attention to all that I've already mentioned, but then also what type of motor is it running, and how heavy is it, because weight is a lot more variable on the e-bikes depending on what motor you have. So like for instance, the TQ motors are the lightest the lightest motor that there is. There's also that Avanox thing that came on the Amflow bike, which, as far as I understand, that motor is only on the Amflow, and then I think it's on the Forbidden as well. But neither of those bikes I'm really considering, because they're just not like oriented for the style of riding that I prefer. But then my other specific stipulation is it needs to be light enough for me to do what I'm doing right now. It needs to be light enough for me to throw that bike over my shoulders and hike it up some bullshit that I cannot physically pedal up. Like this. So I don't know how many people are weighing that as a priority when they're looking at e-bikes, but that's what keeps me completely from considering a full power e-bike. This main reason right here. So I'm curious what you guys are thinking when it comes to e-bikes. Are you a full power guy? And what are the reasons? Are you an SL guy? Do you empathize with some of the reasons that I need an SL bike? Oh yeah. Please let me know in the comments below, because it might not be too long before I purchase myself an e-bike.